Just all right, and you should be able to see my screen there. And hello everybody, thank you so much for joining us for the presentation. It looks like there may be a little bit of a lag, but hopefully it's in full screen mode, so it may be a moment or two as I go through the slides that you're able to see them there on the screen. But with that being said, thank you everybody so much for joining us. My name is Rachel Jensen. I'm located here in Belize on the beautiful Ambergris Key. It is certainly a Caribbean destination, and one that really is just starting to get discovered by a lot of these mainstream tourists, the mainstream real estate market, just the mainstream market generally. I've been coming down since 2012, and I've been living down here over the last few years. And it really is just incredible. It's a beautiful place to be in a wonderful location. So before we get started, I do want to make a mention of the email address that you see there on the screen, the GTAZ, as you can get, Global Ties Arizona at ECIdevelopment.com, GTAZ at ECIdevelopment.com. And we are doing a giveaway for this presentation, just to thank everybody for joining us. And it is a complimentary visit here, nights in Belize, complimentary nights in Belize. We'll draw a winner. I think at the end of the presentation, what would probably be good is if you just send us an email there, gtaz at ecidevelopment.com. We'll draw a winner from randomly, because I don't know any of you, there at the end of the presentation, and we'll welcome you with arms wide open to Ambergris Key. So the next slide is going to jump up here for a second. Okay, there we go. So my name is Rachel Jensen. As I mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for an international real estate development company here. And as I mentioned, I've been down here since 2012. I'm originally from New York and made my way down here for work. And I remember at that point, I was actually living in Managua. And when I was living there in Managua, I heard our CEO, Mike Cobb, talk about Belize and the properties that we had there. And to be honest, I'd never heard of Belize at that point. You know, my family traveled somewhat frequently, mostly to Mexico or other Caribbean destinations, but Belize was never somewhere that came up in conversation. So I put it there in Google, and I went to the images and I searched the pictures, and I was like, this is beautiful. I need to find out a way to get there. And then little did I know that a couple of months later, I'd be asked to go host a conference on Ambergris Key. And here I am 9 years later living on this wonderful island. So Belize, we're going to talk a little bit more about Belize, and then also just go into why people are coming down, and perhaps maybe a place that you want to come down and visit yourself. So I also have my co-worker here, Ali Rodriguez. Ali, why don't you give a little bit more about your story and how it is you ended up here?
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. And thank you, Kristen, again for having us on with you this evening. My name is Ali Rodriguez. I am the Referral Network Director for ECI Development. I do live full-time in Belize. I went through the process of obtaining my work permit, and I am a permanent resident, transplanted originally from the great state of Texas about 3.5 years or so ago. And, you know, something I would want to say about Belize, and it's a central theme really to the country, and it speaks volumes to the culture there, is just how friendly everybody is. And I think that's what initially made me fall in love with Belize and with Ambergris Key specifically, is because they are so happy to have you there. So yeah, happy to be on with you guys tonight, and just know that it definitely is possible if it's something that you're wishing to do. But I am enjoying the Belizean breezy Belize. And I don't know what we ended up calling it this evening, but great cocktail. I chose 3 cherries instead of the orange slice. So I'm just saying, make it the way you want. But yeah, happy to be on with you guys this evening. And Rachel, I don't have, if you want to move forward, you are welcome to do so.
All right, perfect. So I know that we don't have the chat feature here. So you can just raise your hand if you have been to Belize. I'm just curious here, who has been able to come to the country before, who hasn't. And then I'll just quickly look there at the show of hands and see, because I'm always curious. It's neat to see the folks that have come before, but they're always wanting to learn more, and those who haven't come but have somehow heard of the developments or heard of what's going on in the country. All right, I'm seeing a good show of hands there. All right, so what we're going to do is talk about why Belize, what makes it a big hotspot. We're going to explore one of the hottest spots in Belize, and then also go through your questions. So we're probably going to talk for about 20 minutes and then really open the floor for you to go through your questions. Ali and I have a tremendous amount of experience here in the country. We're very adventurous spirits too, so we've traveled around the country and really gotten a good handle on what life is like here. So we're very excited to share that with you. And then, of course, we have that free gift with you for you at the end of this webinar. Now, I do want to mention, and I mentioned it a couple of slides ago, make sure you take down that email address, gtaz@ecidevelopment.com, and email us if you want to be entered to win the 4 complimentary nights in Belize. And we're going to do a drawing at the end of this. We're going to record it and then send it to you in an email, so you all have a copy of and video of who the winner is of the complimentary night. All right, so just a couple fun facts about Belize. Belize is about the size of Massachusetts. And if you see there, the population's about 404,000 people. I know when I was living in New Orleans, the size of New Orleans was a little bit less than that. And when I was trying to wrap my head around that being the entire population of the country is just astounding. But as you can see, it's small. Geographically, it's quite small. And as you zoom in a little bit more there, you can see where the location is. We border Mexico to the west, and then on the southern part, we're more on the Mexico on the north side, and then also the west. And then we also have Guatemala and parts of the west and the south. So it's a small country, though. And so because it is so small, a lot of people tend to overlook it. They tend to go to Mexico, or they're going to places like Panama or Costa Rica, places that have been a lot more established in the tourism market industry. But really, over the last 10, 12 years, Belize has done a tremendous amount of marketing to make it more well known to more of these mainstream travelers. There are many different areas within Belize. We're going to talk about them a little bit more specifically throughout the presentation. But for being as small as it is, about that size of Massachusetts, there's a tremendous amount to do in here. There's different geographies within the country, whether you like mountains, or perhaps you like the Caribbean Sea, or you're more of a jungle person, you'll be able to find that. And maybe you're just someone who wants a really fun vacation, and this could be the spot for you too. And you can see there on the top right, the blue hole. The iconic blue hole is something that you probably have started to associate with Belize. If you're a diver or snorkeler, you're able to go there to the blue hole. I do dive personally, but for me, I wanted to see the blue hole from above, because that's what you see in all the marketing. And there are airlines, Tropic Air, the regional airlines, where you're able to actually take a plane and go above it and fly. It's really fascinating. So they use the Belize dollars here in Belize. It's pegged to the US dollar, 2 Belize dollars to 1 US dollar. So what that means essentially is when you go into the grocery store and you see something, let's say a bag of Cheetos is 12 Belize dollars, divide that in half and it will come out to 6 US dollars. So everything you see priced here in the country is in Belize. So you just cut it in half, and that's how you get your US equivalent. So Ali, do you want to tell us a little bit more about why it is that people are coming to Belize, and some of the big benefits and perks? Oh, we might have lost Ali. I don't see her here.
Well, no, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, now I can. All right, because your picture there didn't pop up, so I'm glad you're here. Yes.
So my Wi-Fi seems to be on vacation since it's after 5 o'clock.
No worries,
here. I'm not real sure, but so I turned off my video just to maintain some bandwidth here. But yeah, so one of the reasons people are looking at Belize as either a tourist destination, or maybe it's just a change of scenery, is that there is major airlift happening from the region, from Belize City specifically, to different parts of North America, those major international airports. You can see from the map there, I've done the Houston trip quite a lot, being from Texas, and I can say it's about a 2-hour, 15-minute flight. From Miami, it's about 2 hours. So just really quick and easy to get to Belize from those major airports. But you can also see as well, right before COVID, really, there was a significant increase in those major airlines picking up additional flights because the demand was just there. Their flights were full, and they knew that if they increased the number of flights they were offering, that those would also be full. And we're starting to see the return of that just now, starting after this COVID kind of has lightened up a little bit. Today, there was an announcement made by Southwest, in fact, that their flights, where was it from, Rachel, that we're going to be continuing starting in November of this year?
Yep, Denver and Los Angeles. So they'll start again direct. So nothing from Phoenix yet, but if you're able to get to LA or you're able to get to Dallas or Houston, you're able to get down here pretty quickly. And then also, I know Alaska Airlines is starting up this month or next month, I believe it is, direct from LA as well. So there are good options. And as tourism continues to increase here, I think we will continue to see an increase in airlift as well. Now, another reason why we're seeing a lot of people are coming down to Belize, whether for vacation or we're seeing a lot of snowbirds too. And, I don't really know the demographic of the folks on the line necessarily, but if you're somebody who's able to work remotely, I think that the pandemic has been able to show a lot of people that we're able to just flip open our laptop, connect to Wi-Fi, and get the job done. And if you're somebody like that, maybe you're considering spending time in the tropics. And we saw that a lot, quite frequently over this past winter season here in Belize. When the border reopened again in October, we saw a lot of digital nomads coming down, people who were able to get their job done from the computer. They flip it open. They were here for a month, 2 months. One of my good friends who was supposed to be here for a month, she ended up staying 5 months, left for 6 weeks, was just here for another 3 weeks. And so it makes it's very easy to do that here in the country, come down. And some of the big reasons for that is because this is a former British colony. Belize gained their independence in 1981, so they are under British common law. And for those of us from the States, that's very comfortable because that's the law. The common law is what we practice in the US, with the exception of Louisiana, but it's what we practice in the US. So it's a place we feel comfortable going. In addition to that, English is the official language. While they do speak Creole here, you'll also hear Spanish spoken quite a bit because of the proximity there within Latin America and Central America specifically. You will hear Spanish, you will hear Caribbean Creole, but English is in fact the official language. So that means when you're coming in through the border and you're checking in with customs and immigration, everything is done in English. They're not talking to you in another language. You're like, I don't know if I know what they're saying, but hey, here's my passport. I think that's what you're asking. It's very comfortable environment. So again, whether it's the tourism perspective that you're looking at this from, or perhaps the relocation or planning to spend time here, you are certainly able to do that really quite easily. I'm not going to bog down on this one too much, but of course, we're in the real estate industry. And for those of you who are real estate investors or people who are looking to own real estate in up and coming markets, emerging markets, we found a lot of people are coming to Belize because of the affordability of it. A lot of times people are comparing other Caribbean destinations to Belize. And we're seeing that this is the place where they're able to get the best bang for their buck. There's opportunity for appreciation. There's already cash flow here. So I'm not going to, again, bog down on the details here. If you want more information about real estate in the country, we're certainly happy to help you there. It is fully titled, so you can own it outright, not a fractional, not a timeshare. But you can just see that there's incredible savings when you're looking at property here in Belize. So those were the top 3 reasons why we see people are coming to Belize, is just the easy and direct flights that are coming to the country. So from Houston, from Dallas, you're able to get here in 2 hours. Yesterday, I came in from Atlanta. There was a direct from Atlanta, it took 2.5 hours. The other week I flew to Miami, an hour, 45 minutes. So it's easy enough to get to. And a lot of times people just kind of forget about it because the location is overshadowed by places like Cancun or Costa Rica. But for those people who are discovering it, they do tend to come back quite a bit and are repeat visitors. But I think one of the big reasons why people really enjoy it, and Ali pinpointed this earlier, is really because of the people. This is a place where we want tourism. We want people to come, especially where we're located on the island. We're on Ambergris Caye. It's the largest island off the coast of Belize mainland. We get around by golf cart. Everybody is interacting with the locals and the expats and the tourists. We're all going to the same bars and restaurants and go diving and snorkeling the same sites. And it just really creates this community sense here. that I find a lot of places in the Caribbean don't offer. And I've done the Jamaica, the Punta Cana, all of those sort of vacations where you go to this all-inclusive resort, which you think, sounds great and exciting, but then the reality is it's all inclusive because it's dangerous outside of the four walls of the hotel, and they really don't want you to be leaving because your risk, your life or whatever is in jeopardy. And in Belize, it's not like that at all. It's a very safe place. And especially where we're located, it's the tourism mecca. So we drive golf carts, for example. That's our primary mode of transportation. You don't really find all-inclusive hotels in this country, just simply because they want you to go out and explore the culture, try the restaurant that the locals that own down the street, and really get a good feel and flavor. And because we don't have this all-inclusive vibe here, what happens is when you come down as a tourist, you get to know the locals, and next thing you know, you're out on a day fishing trip, and then when the fishing trip is done, you'll realize you're getting along with your captain well, and then you're going to dinner with them, and then next thing you know, you're planning your next trip down to go fishing, in this part of the reef or in the backside. So it's really quite interesting. It's really a remarkable sort of culture here that I know is one of the big reasons that has kept me here for 9 years, and I know Ali here for a few as well. But there's just a lot to do within the country. And, again, whether you're looking at it from the tourism perspective or perhaps you're looking at it from that lifestyle perspective, you'll find that there is a lot. Ali, I don't know how your service is, but did you want to go through some of the top places here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're okay right now. So
okay. Yeah, you sound good. You do sound good.
And just to piggyback off what you were saying is once you've been to the island one time, people remember you. And when you return, and if you return, it's more of a win than if, but when you return, always tell you, welcome home, we're glad to see you. And that is something that I'm not sure happens in other places of the world. So just something of note there. But yeah, just like on Ambergris Caye, the island that Rachel mentioned, we do have this incredible diversity of activities to do also on the mainland. And so when you land in Belize City, which is on mainland Belize, you do have to take either a 15-minute puddle jumper to the island of Ambergris Caye, or you can take about a 90-minute water taxi ride that is equally as beautiful. Just depends on your time and what you want to experience. But likewise, going the opposite direction, you may choose to stay on Ambergris Caye because it's beautiful and it has the nightlife and the beaches and the reef is 5 minutes away. But I encourage you also to take a day, maybe two, to experience the mainland. And you can see there on the left hand of the slide, there's Corozal, which is the north of the country. You have your Mayan temples. It's a much sleepier town, huge expat community there to integrate with and mingle with. But also in the Cayo district, you have the jungles that you can go zip lining through and cave tubing. Incredible amount of just activity that you can do if that's something that you love. But also Placencia, which is more in the southern part of the country. That's also one of those more relaxing, slower paced. This is where we're going to lay on the beach and just enjoy the scenery. So lots of things to do within the country of Belize on each of these different little communities. And like Rachel mentioned earlier, the Blue Hole, it's world renowned for its diving and just being, I believe it's the 7th wonder of the world or something like that, but it's absolutely incredible. And pictures don't do it justice. The true flyover is absolutely phenomenal.
Exactly. And so where Ali and I are located is this island. If you can all follow my cursor right over here, this is called Ambergris Caye. And, fun fact is this was actually a part of Mexico. So directly north is where Mexico is located. And this used to be connected, but then in 700 AD, the Mayans built a channel going through to get to their trade location. So it was much easier for them to go through the thinnest part of where it connected. Then cut the channel there. They cut through the channel, and then they were able to get here to Corozal and Chetumal and trade. So it's really quite neat. But Ambergris Caye is in fact a part of Belize, a very beautiful part, as you can see there in the picture. The Ambergris Caye, you get those beautiful Caribbean waters there. And then also, again, I know we have a mix of folks who are on the line here, but those of you who are thinking more from the lifestyle perspective of moving here, and then Corozal, this is because it borders Mexico. It's easy enough to get to back and forth. And we don't have any of that border nonsense that I know the US deals with. There's very friendly relations between Belize and Mexico. And we don't have the big chain stores here in Belize. We don't have the Home Depots and the Walmarts and the Targets. And for some people, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't live without Target. I don't know what to do. But for a lot of us, like, life is just simpler here. And for those of you who want to get out of the rat race and just unwind and relax, this is really the place to do it. But for those people who need to have those sort of comforts close by, they can go right over the border there into Chetumal and able to continue on. So Ali just mentioned here that we only have a couple of minutes. Sorry guys, I can just like go on and on here. So I'm going to just go through a couple more really iconic things to mention that really make Belize unique. One of them is the fact Ali mentioned it before, the cave tubing, the Mayan ruins. The diving and snorkeling is really what brought Ambergris Caye and the country of Belize on the map, specifically Ambergris Caye, because Ambergris Caye parallels, it's the second largest living reef in the world, but the second largest reef in the world, but the first longest living reef in the world. So it just parallels the island here. So for those of you who like the water activities, the diving and snorkeling and fishing, that's really an incredible spot here. So I know we don't have our chat, so I'm just going to ask you the quick question is, what holiday do we celebrate on November 19th? You don't have to answer that. You can just jot that down on your piece of paper. Is it Belize Independence Day, Garifuna Settlement Day, Belize New Year's, or Dia de los Muertos? And that's November 19th, and we will give you the answers at the end. And then I do have tips when you're coming down here, shop locally. I say ditch the LaCroix because I've had experience before of LaCroix, LaCroix being one of my comforts. I'm so used to in the States, you get the 12 pack for $3.99. Here I found the 12 pack when they finally brought LaCroix in. I don't know, this was probably about 2-3 years ago. I put the 12 pack there on the at the grocery store, and I don't know, it was like $24 US or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm fine with just the local seltzer water. So you'll learn though, as you're traveling, try the local things. You have the local cocktail there. It's awesome. It's delicious. You don't necessarily need to be getting what you're used to. But here, Ambergris Caye is really the tourism mecca for the entire country. That this island produces about 70% of the tourism revenue for the entire country. I see there's a bit of a lag here, so I'm not. Okay, it looks like you're at that slide, but it really is the right place to be visiting. It's grown tremendously over the years. And something that I really respect about Belize is the fact that they're such a sustainable country. They like to build eco-consciously and develop in such an eco-conscious manner. And so it's a beautiful place to be. And I'm just going through the slides here. I do see there's a lag, but you can see this is Ambergris Caye. This is the beautiful island that we're on. And it really is a beautiful, charming Caribbean destination. You see there at the bottom right, the golf carts. I have a pink golf cart. Ali, I think yours is red. We have fun with it. You're able to really customize it. And if you're living here, if you're just visiting, you can always rent one and trek around the island and visit. And it's a warm place. It's a country that is home to 9 different cultures. We have the Mennonites, we have the Mayans, we have the Latinos, we have the Garifunas, we have the Brits. There's this real unique mix of ethnicities and cultures here, really all blending together to create Belize. And just depending on what you enjoy doing, for those of you who like the water activities, fishing, diving, snorkeling, kayaking, abundance of that. For those who like water or land activities, maybe like festivals, Lobster Fest is coming. They actually just changed. It's going to be in July of this year. And the fun part is it's going to be 2 weekends, the first and second weekend in July. For those of you who like lobster, it's when we reintroduce lobster to the menu, and the bars and restaurants have different lobster specials on their menus. And there's a big celebration. People dress up like lobsters. A lot of fun here. Costa Maya, it's a beauty pageant representing the different countries in Central America. Carnival, a lot of fun. That's September. And then Wine Divine, that's just one of the social events. And then for those people who like giving back when they are on vacation or spending time in a location, there are plenty of ways to do that here in Belize. And then Ambergris Caye specifically, it's the diving mecca of the region. Really of the world. And for those of you who maybe aren't a diver, maybe you like snorkeling, or maybe you want to get into it, this is a great place to learn. I know I did my pool courses in New Orleans, and they're like, all right, we're going to go do our open water test in a cold quarry in Florida. I was like, nope, I'm going to Belize. I'm going to do it there. And I remember my dive instructor in New Orleans said to me, if your first dive is in Belize, you're going to be ruined for the rest of your dive, career. And, I said, why is that? And he said, because it is some of the best diving in the world. So for some of you who are divers on the line, any of you who are divers on the line, come join us. And then quick question there, where in Belize are 2/3 of the overnight visitors heading? Placentia A, Corozal B, Ambergris Caye C, Kyle District D. And then again, just jot that down. And then a quick tip when you're coming down and visit is bring the small US dollar bills with you. They do accept US currency here. You may get Belize dollars back, but there's no sort of exchange when you're in the airport. If you bring Belize dollars back, it's going to be a little difficult to try to get the US back. You know, at the airport, you're not necessarily going to be able to have that exchange counter, or you just save them until your next visit. You're able to do that too. And I'm not going to go into this part, but if anybody is interested in learning more about real estate, we do have the Consumer Resource Guide, where it's a great educational resource for you about ownership of property overseas. Quick overview. How did you do? So what holiday do we celebrate on November 19th? That is Garifuna Settlement Day. And then the second question there is, where is 2/3 of the tourism or tourists going? And the answer there is C, Ambergris Caye, Belize. So if you would like a copy of this guide, feel free to reach out. If you just want to be entered into the 4-night stay on Ambergris Caye, do let us know. We'd love to have you out here. Allie and I are great guides. We're able to host you, give you a great tour around in the golf cart, show you some of our local hotspots. I know that's something that we get a lot. People are coming down, they're like, all right, well, where do the locals go? Like, we want to try the local food. We have you covered. I will tell you that. So reach out to us. Love to have you down here. Maybe Belize is already on your radar and you're just looking for somebody to connect with and meet up with while you're here. And we can certainly help you with that. So I think I went a little bit over there. So sorry about that. I could talk about Belize for hours, but I'm not going to do that. That's not why we're here. Why don't we open up the floor to questions? And Allie and I can certainly answer those for you guys.
One quick, when I say, I've never felt unsafe on Ambergris Caye. Just like anywhere in the world, really, there are spots where you should, avoid or be cognizant of your surroundings. But Ambergris Caye is home, and it feels like home, and everybody is looking out for each other there. So if that's something that was of concern, I just wanted to mention that up front, because it is something that people consider when they are choosing their destinations.
It's true, Allie, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. I lived in Nicaragua. I got my residency. I'm a green card in Panama. I spend a lot of time in Latin America, just generally. And there's one country in the entire world where I got pickpocketed, and it was Rome, Italy. And I can tell you, people know Italy, Spain, like France is notorious for pickpocketers, yet people continue to go there. And, in Belize, we have opportunists. If you leave your phone out and you walk 2 miles down the beach, someone's going to snatch your phone up. It's a land of opportunists like that anywhere in the world. But Allie, you're spot on. Like, at the end of the day, when you're trying to identify a place where you feel comfortable, let's say you're coming down on a vacation with your family or your wife, or you're coming down by yourself even, this is a great place to do so, because there is really that community aspect and community feel, and not just on the island, but just generally across the board in this country. And some of that has to do with the fact that it is a small population, 400,000 people. It's a small population. So there's a tendency to all look out for each other. So yeah, thank you, Allie, for bringing that up. It's a really great point.
Okay, now we can open the floor for questions.